Hello, good evening, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you in association with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System ICOMS at the ports. The show is also streamed live on our social media pages on Facebook. You can find us at Iron Port. That's Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA Ghana, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA Ghana. On YouTube, we are at Iron Port Ghana. Iron Port Ghana. You can also join the conversation by sending us your messages ahead of the show via our WhatsApp line, which is 0559-019-177, 0559-019-177. We're glad to pick your messages and read to the rest of the world. At the appropriate time, we shall also activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. Indeed, our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. And so if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show tonight. My name is Kennedy Mona. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
Every now and again, Goyle makes good things happen. This time, Goyle has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goyle has that sorted. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima.
Tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the project and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at some of the happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week. And indeed, the Integrated Customs Management System, ICOMS, organized a training program for some media personnel who report on the industry. We'll bring you that story shortly. And the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority security personnel also underwent some military training and passed out successfully. And Goyle has also opened an auto center in Doenya. Let's take a look at these stories.
Officials of the Ghana Link Network Services, operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, have held a day's training program for journalists who report on the Port and Maritime Ministry of Ghana. The training program held in Accra was to afford the members of the press in this specialized field a deeper understanding into the operations of the trade facilitation tool deployed at Ghana's ports and frontiers, which would lead to improved and accurate reportage pertaining to the ICOMS. The journalists were taken through a general technical overview of the ICOMS system, its operations, e-tracking and scanning systems.
We've been talking about single window, and what is a single window? Single window is actually a single system where all stakeholders in the trading community can actually come on a single platform to conduct business and not to be logging in and out of several systems.
We have internet connections from about 5 different service providers. So whenever one goes off, the system seamlessly switches to the next one. So basically, it keeps downtime to the barest minimum.
The Deputy Managing Director of Ghana Link Network Services, Clyde J, stated that despite mixed reactions from stakeholders during the commencement of the ICOMS project, its success after a year is common knowledge. He reviewed some of the deliverables users of the system should expect from the soon-to-be rolled out Phase 2 of the project.
For instance, Ghana Standard Board, how they collect. Previously, it was like an independent system operating, but now all of them collect their revenue through the ICOMS, so that at the end of the month or year, they can say that, okay, this is what we actually generated. And this were the reporting that we're adding up so that they can, the government, any statistics that they need, they can have it. And also, we look at, in the previous system, there was no advanced passenger information system. But based on the contract that we have advanced passenger information system that will give customs the opportunity to be able to assess or to know risk passengers who are coming, so that immediately they maybe get to the airport, they can call them and investigate them.
Team lead for the Port Journalist Network, Elvis Dako, said such programs would build the capacity of his colleagues as they furnish the public with information on the critical port industry and maritime trade.
If you look at the revenue that this country generates on an annual basis, the port happens to be the single largest revenue generator for the state. So such a sector needs the best attention if we want this country's revenue generation to improve.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority continually pursues the upgrading of skills of its security personnel to meet the optimum requirement needed to provide Ghana's port environment with excellent security services. This effort has been recently demonstrated in the passing out of 2 of its security staff from the Army Combat Training School after undertaking 3 months of intensive drill and duties course. One of the GPHA staff, named Abdullah Ismaila, finished the course as the best allied student of the graduating class. The Tema Port Security Manager, Colonel Emmanuel Nyante, told Iron Ports that the training, which is done yearly for some of its high-performance staff, is one that is often reserved for members of the military. The Port Security Manager said the authority's security department will leverage on this feat to train the rest of its staff to meet the military standard.
We believe that with this kind of excellence, it is going to be replicated within the department. The drill training and exercises will be improved, and we will see a high level of discipline and drill within the department.
The security trainees expressed their gratitude to the authority for the opportunity.
I would like to say that with the success we have chalked, it is imperative that the authority sees this training as an important one. As such, give us more slots whenever such trainings are being organized, so that more of our colleagues can go through the same experience and come out successfully.
A modern one-stop shop auto service center has been opened at the Goyle station in Dawenya near Tema. The center has a well-stocked lubricant shop, tire change and alignment section, and a state-of-the-art diagnostic center. The well-equipped center is expected to serve vehicles plying the Accra-Aflao Road and vehicles in the Kpong-Dawenya enclave. The dealer and owner of the service station explained that the center was also built to provide a convenient one-stop point for the growing vehicle owners in the area.
Along this route, this is a major highway, and as such, we feel that we should do something that can be able to accommodate vehicles who normally go to Accra and Tema for their services.
The Tema Zonal Manager, Rita Ado, noted that the construction of the Auto Service Center was a step in the right direction, as it would provide premium products and services to customers.
GOIL as a company, on our part, shall supply all ranges of lubricants to Sell Auto Service Center for the servicing of cars. GOIL will also provide technical advice and services to the Auto Center, which will help equip the workers to offer good service delivery.
In a related development, GOIL has continued to reward its cherished customers in the ongoing ASEDA promotion. At the Dowenya service station, motorists who took advantage of the promo could not help but heap praise on GOIL.
This is more fuel because other stations say no need naji me come food to am fuel no apart from GOIL
anytime I wake up, GOIL is my filling station that I go, because if you buy GOIL oil, it takes time before it finish. Unlike the other ones, if you buy before you see it finish.
Thank you so much. I wasn't expecting it. I only came here for fuel, and then I had this as well. I'm grateful.
The Tema Zonal Manager Rita Ado emphasized that the ASEDA promo is for everyone who buys from GOIL without discrimination. Hence, all customers should take advantage before the year ends.
We're not saying buy 50, 100, anything you buy. This is to reward you for patronizing us throughout the year. So we're still saying, come and enjoy the goodies GOIL has to offer. At the South Last Service Station, motorists, including trotro drivers, taxi drivers, and private car owners, received their gift items as a result of the ASEDA promotion. They received a variety of gifts such as rice cookers, pressing irons, kettles, refrigerators, among others. Some beneficiaries of the promo expressed excitement at their rewards.
I am a catcher, me nam for 4 our station say GOIL there otwa e ma onje ne che e ma on time ko shop intina bring nyina no aya omumra GOIL ommeto GOIL.
They attested to the fact that GOIL only provides value for money services and products. South Zonal Manager Helen Tremanting also disclosed the benefits of his tally card system.
Anytime when you get to any of our stations, request for the tally card. This one is not going to end at the end of the month. You can get it at all our service stations. When you receive it, whatever you buy, just write it in it. At the end of the month, we will tally it, whatever the award you are supposed to get. You come back to the station, we will even call you and tell you that you are supposed to come and receive award at ABCD station.
Similarly, the ASEDA train continued in Koforidua as part of the company's efforts to ensure that the promotional campaign is experienced nationwide.
We believe that God belongs to all Ghanaians, and at the point we don't want to use all our profits, we also want to give back to the society as a corporate responsibility.
The zonal manager preached the good news of GOIL fuel.
If you buy from GOIL, you are not just saving money, but your car engine will also last long, and you will not go to mechanic shop every time. So we encourage everybody to buy from a GOIL filling station. Our diesel is also ultra low sulfur. The sulfur content in the diesel is insignificant. You can't even notice it, and it helps to reduce all the debris from your engine.
The various categories of drivers attested to the efficacy of GOIL products and expressed gratitude for the promotion.
Na metri bana etwi car no na always get etwa say e ba beto go wa hanom because uto a wo kani mu a eche ana ma engine so strong e ma car so rane udwane ko anim what you say always get etwa say e ba hanom e beto because ye pese e be ko filling station bia e ba ko to petrol e be say ye car no e engine aye basabasa.
So have one fine pa I am tomade me ba ye mo chamade therefore go afuo na bia to bi na ye papa.
All right, so those were some happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week. And indeed, the Yuletide is just around the corner. Wherever you go, everybody's in the mood. The season is here. And in fact, GPHA is sending out messages to the generality of the Ghanaian people, wishing you the best in this particular season. And we have a special message from our Director General to you. Enjoy.
On behalf of the Board of Directors and Management and all staff of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, I am happy to announce once again that we've come to the end of another year. We've come to the end of 2021. We are happy to still be together, to have good memories of the past year. That it has been a 2021 year that we all expected to be better than 2020 because of COVID. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate all of us, GPHA staff and management, our port community, shipping lines, freight forwarders, customs, all other state agencies working with us, ICOMs and all the other entities that have worked together throughout the year for the achievement that we've had. So far, statistics are showing that we've done better in 2021. Even 2022, 20 that had challenges, we did better. And we've come into 2021 even with better results as the statistics will show by the end of December when we've compiled our full cargo and vessel statistics. So we are looking forward to 2022 even with brighter hopes that we'll be able to do better. I want to use this opportunity to wish all of us a Merry Christmas and a very prosperous and healthy 2022. Let's continue to keep safe from COVID. Now there are new variants that are coming in, so it's not over yet. We need to continue to remain safe, abide by the protocols, and live healthily into 2022 and then work better. Good luck to all of us. Merry Christmas and a very prosperous New Year. Thank you very much.
To our dear staff, 2021 has not been easy, but we want to thank you for being dedicated to work and also for the achievement that we have achieved together this year. And to our valued customers, thank you for your support and for doing business with us. We know that 2021 has not been an easy year, but we hope for the best in 2022. I wish you and all your families a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year as we continue to observe the festivities in a safe manner. Afishiapo.
I am also taking this opportunity to thank the Honorable His Excellency Togusri, the Omafia of the Alon Kingdom, Tobe Akolache, the Dufia of KG, for giving us opportunity to come to your community to build Kita Port. I'm also encouraging all MPs, opinion leaders, stakeholders within the Kita environment to support us as we bring this great development to Volta region and utilities. We are hopeful that 2022 will be a great development process for us. On behalf of all the supporting cast of the Kita Port project, the project engineers, administrative staff, GPHA staff, unions, workers, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to zoom into our discussion proper tonight. And tonight we are trying to gauge the expectations of the trading community in the country with respect to policies that are to come or to be implemented in 2022 by government. Remember, the government economic policy statement has just been read, and there's the debate ongoing in Parliament. And so many issues have come up. But we are trying to look at what this portends for the trading community in the country. And we also mentioned to you last week that the heads of state were engaged in a meeting and were supposed to announce a decision on the reopening or otherwise of borders. Now, our understanding is that their meeting indicated that they would be opening the borders come February 2022. Indeed, we're waiting to see whether this indeed would happen, given the fact that our president also announced that this is not the time for us to open the borders, premised on the fact that, yes, we have the new variant of COVID, which is eating deep, seriously, into the system. And so maybe they want to take some measures. We'll explore all these tonight on the show. We have in the studios Mr. Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, who is the former president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, GIF. He's also a senior fellow at the Center for International Maritime Affairs, Ghana. He's in the studios. Good evening, Mr. President, and welcome.
Thank you very much.
And then we also have Dr. Joseph Obing, who is the president of the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA, in the studio. Mr. President, good evening and welcome. Good evening. So I'm privileged indeed to have two presidents in the studio, one former, one still in office. And so let me say welcome once again to you and say a Merry Christmas in advance and a Happy New Year, a prosperous one at that. I'll begin with you, Mr. Ofosu-Appiah, and find out how the 2021 year has been for you in the area of port, you know, and the maritime industry.
Thank you very much, Ken, and a good evening to your viewers out there. I mean, 2021 was just like a carryover from 2020. I mean, with the ravaging effect of COVID and all of that, it's really not been an easy year, particularly when you look at what hit us as the fallout of COVID and the imbalance that came up as a result of container movement. You know, it just hit us as though the containers had just vanished into thin air, and trust you me, it was not a pleasant situation at all, and it actually carried through up to this point. It has carried through up to this point, and the effect is not something that traders have been very I mean, can smile about. If you look at the situation where the imbalances was occasioned as a result of the economic policies of United States, where they actually encouraged spending, for which reason a lot of goods moved to their areas, and then at the end of the day, the container redistribution was a challenge. And I don't want to say that the shipping lines cashed in on it, but the effect of it suggested that they cashed in on it. And you just slept and woke up and you realize that container movement, the freight thereof, in certain instances had skyrocketed to over 500%. In fact, certain instances even more. Okay, and where we had situations where freight that was coming from the farthest end of the world to Ghana was around $3,500. Sometimes went as high as 21,000, 25,000, you know. And when it has stabilized, it's just hovering around the 12,000 mark. And I mean, if you are that lucky, 8,500 and that kind of arrangement. It was really a very horrible situation. I mean, if you take the fact that we are import dependent, I mean, just about importing everything from engine to toothpick. Sure. You know, and you have a situation like this, then it tells you, I mean, our arrangement is such that almost everything that we demand is, there's an inelastic demand for almost everything that we import. And that really painted a very gloomy picture, because then it means that the price thereof will have to be transferred to the final consumer. And if you look at the fact that the economic space has also been stifled, has been reduced, but yet the consumer will still have to take up these bills, then you will, if you were really doing the mathematics behind the scenes, you will see the impact of these container redistribution imbalances. It was really dire. Right. And as if that in itself was not enough, I mean, sadly, we had the division, customs division, also wanting to, in quotes, cash in on the the effect of the imbalance. I mean, you know, customs duty is leveraged on a certain base, which has freight as a component. Okay, so with this artificial hike in freight rates, I mean, one seriously was not expecting that kind of conversation to even be come up, but it came up. Thankfully, cool heads have prevailed, and that situation was not totally loaded onto the trader, even though a certain modicum of increase was at the end of the day, the trader was subjected to a certain modicum of increase. But we want to pray that, I mean, we are in this soup together, and if these kinds of situations occur, let's think through it, and let's not immediately draw our swords to want to cut the portion of the meat that is available.
Now, one of my questions I was going to pose to you was how this particular shortage in containers and the subsequent hike in freight rates impacted your work as freight forwarders. You did mention that all this turned around to affect the final consumer because the cost is transferred onto that consumer. But you as freight forwarders, how did you manage this situation? What was the impact of it on your operations as freight forwarders?
Okay, so Ken, you realize that we are intermediaries. We have our principals, the Gooters and the AGIs and the likes, and any other itinerant importer. We call them the trader. The trader gauges, I mean, his expectation to, you know, the trader is a businessman. So like I said earlier on, if he looks at what he wants to use money for, he has alternatives. And trust you me, it's not been a very good story to tell. I mean, the effect is that, I mean, they are dwindling fortunes. The space is so tight now, so much so that any imbalance, I mean, as little as it might seem, can actually throw the equilibrium out of gauge. You see, because the trader will want to look at, should I put, I actually had a conversation with an importer who told me that, I am going to lock up my money in treasury bills and see what happens at the end of 12 months. 6 months down the line, he called to tell me that, look, he's bought a new SUV, which
with the money,
he wouldn't have bought if he had decided to go on trading. You know, so you realize that for some of them, it's like a calling. So if we are not careful and things of this nature disrupts their space, then it tells very heavily. And on us, it was huge, because if you have a trader who is going to invest his trading capital into a TB, then you as his agent, you who stand in as an intermediary for him, you've lost out. So that is how practical and very straightforward these kinds of disruptions are on our lives.
Okay. All right, so let me come to Dr. Obing and find out from you how the year 2021 has been for the trading community in the country. My understanding is that you guys made huge profits in 2021.
Oh, it's very unfortunate if somebody should have that assumption. But you also will remember that we have some opponents out there who always do not seek welfare. So I won't take it out from them, but everybody will know that it has been a very bad year for businesses, especially coming from the 2020, where we saw the major outbreak of this COVID. The lockdowns that went with it saw that most businesses were actually on the verge of bankruptcy. And just as when everything seemed to be cooling down, the numbers of the COVID were going down, in 2021, there was an upsurge. The second and third wave started, which affected global commodity prices worldwide. And when we say that the global commodity prices increased, it was not just negligible increases. They were just very astronomical, and sometimes 200%, 300%. And like my brother was also talking about the freight charges, never in the history of businesses or our import life have we seen an upsurge of such a magnitude of increase in prices of the freight charges that we have been paying from 3,000 to 15,000 means a lot. It means that it's eating into your capital. So for anybody even to think about profit means that the person is just not being fair about the plight of businesses. The year also saw introduction of new taxes and increase in the VAT rate and all that. And we accommodated them gracefully because knowing that government also suffered during the previous year by giving free this, free water, free electricity and all that, we have to accommodate it. But what it means is that the effects are being transferred onto the final consumer, whose purchasing power is also limited. It therefore curtails the turnover. And that's why people keep on saying that the volumes of imports dwindled. It's because if you were able to bring 4 containers maybe in a month or 2, this time round, because if you go for 4 containers, you are going to pay for only the freight is going to take $60,000 instead of $12,000 that you would have paid. It means that your resources are also limited. So freight charges alone will compel you to drop the number of containers that you used to do. And not only that, the world commodity prices that have gone up have made your cost price also doubled. Means that you cannot buy the same 4 containers, maybe you can only make 2 containers because of this great effect. So if you say that the effects of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, then the area that it was affected hugely is in the import sector of trading. And it shouldn't be taken as a joke. And when you come in here, the port levies and charges that are flying up, over 18 items, different levies and taxes, is also piled up on you. And at the same time, the shipping lines here also extorting. I use the word extorting because that is what it is.
It's an issue you've grappled with all this while.
That they also take all this for you, and all of this, the business person will have to contend with all these huge problems. Also thinking about how you will able to price so that you will break even. Because you cannot overprice yourself out of the competition. Because the competition is also such that you cannot overprice your items. So sometimes you look on at the frustration, the price and all that, and still try to sell at a lower price so that you can remain relevant in the competition where your capital is dwindling. Because you cannot force the final consumer to buy. If its capacity is limited, it's limited. So if you increase your price, you cannot overburden them. And that's the situation that businesses are facing. And that's the reason why we kept on pleading with the government not to touch the benchmark reduction policy. Because if government touch it, I'm telling you, businesses will suffer a lot. It means that duty is going to be doubled. And the impact straight away will be about over 30%. I saw Ministry of Finance coming out of the impact assessment of about 11.5%. I mean, it's not, it doesn't add up. Because if you add up, you make duty payment 100% from 50% to 100%. All it means is that you are paying 100% duty, and it has been doubled from 50% to 100. Then, if you take the duty rate that we pay 55%, then paying whole or adding half of that effect, it means that it will go around, because we are talking about 55 cumulative tax, and then about 27% will be the add up to the increase of goods and services. And so it's not a small distance. So government should think about it as we are still prevailing on the government to...
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me come to you. At the time you were president of GIF, we had GCNet, that's the Ghana Community Network Services, and we had West Blue, who had deployed tools in the port to facilitate trade. Now we have the Ghana Link Network Services operating the integrated customs management system. Now you are still a very active and vibrant freight forwarder practitioner as a freight forwarder. And I want to find out from you what your assessment is with regards to trade facilitation at our ports.
Well, I think it's been great. It's been great to the extent that we seem to be getting it right now. Okay, getting it right because I mean, and at this one, I want to sing the praises of people like KOD, who is past.
May his soul rest in peace.
And the current president of GIF,
Eddie
Akron. You know, you see, in norming this kind of environment, okay, you necessarily need the input of the people who
are going to use the service.
The system. Okay. In time past, we have had committees, technical committees, and situations like that. But I can tell you that the environment that greeted, ICOMS, from UNIPAS to ICOMS, forced a certain necessity where you had practitioners sucked into the development and the operationalization of the system. So they were picking problem points and relating it to developers.
Right.
And the developers were finding solutions. Okay? For me, I think it is a great one. And I want to say again that never again should we have this topsy-turvy approach to finding solution. You from 2017, you can see the conversation. Paperless, Dubai ports, Unipass, this, that. You know, I keep on quoting one very funny quote from President Kufuor. He says that Sikam Peroff, okay, to wit, money does not like disturbances. So the moment you put disturbances before money, it can relocate. I pray that we never get to this position again, where as a country, it begins to look like we really do not know what we want. Okay, now we have gotten our act right, but it is still not enough. You see, we should not get into the position where we set aside the thoughts of technocrats. We have technocrats. There is a National Trade Facilitation Committee. As enjoined by the World Trade Organization's Trade Facilitation Agreement that it be set up. To what extent is that committee's advice or outlook engaged and influencing policy on the ground? You see, if you take the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, you take the Common External Tariff, and now you take AFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Arrangement. You see that gradually we are trying to build a block, and you realize that when we had ETLS, Nigeria, Benin always were the bad boys that we used to quote, because they would do things that just looked at their domain. Okay, now thankfully, we have the headquarters of AFTA here. And Ghana should not be giving mixed signals. Okay? We should let the whole world know that we are ripe, we are of age, we know what we want. And I tell you that the National Trade Facilitation Committee has men and women in there that can shape these conversations going forward. We shouldn't get ourselves into situations where occasionally, sometimes 8 years, we have everything reset, and then it creates problems for us.
All right. Dr. Obing, let me come to you. You use the systems at the port because obviously you also import. So let me find out from you. We moved from paperless to single window, and now we are at ICOMS. Your assessment?
Yeah, these are all systems that are brought to enhance on the trade facilitation. And so and now you say ICOMS, it came to improve on the previous systems. Otherwise, government wouldn't bring it. But if a government wants to bring a system, you want to upgrade the existing system so that it will help efficient running of the port. After the initial transitional problems that ICOMS faced, it has proved to be very effective. And we are all lauding the effort of the ICOMS management and then the customs as a whole. But for me, those systems are there, but what normally worry is the trading is the cost aspect, because the ICOMS and all that ensure effective the time aspect, ease of doing the business and all that. But when it comes to the cost aspect, that's where we are almost always worried about the taxes and levies at the port and all that. These are the areas that, as at now, having gone through efficient systems and all that, we have to look at the cost aspect at the port so that doing business will be less costly.
All right, so one thing that's currently gaining grounds and a lot of attention is the border closures and recent calls by some stakeholders that the borders should be opened. As we speak, there are people that are advocating seriously for these borders to be, opened. You also heard our president when he delivered the message, COVID-19 update, and he said this was not the time. The time was not ripe for the borders to be opened. I know you would say the closure of the borders have impacted your business, your trade. What's your take on the border closures?
Yeah, definitely it has impacted negatively. Let me give you this scenario. See, the people of Africa have tasted a lot of diseases. And we also know that the people of Africa have tasted poverty. I dare to say that between the two, poverty is more bitter. And so when we are managing some of these things, we have to see how to manage the two together in order not to one to be more affected. But nonetheless, I also appreciate that economies, we have strong economies based on healthy population. So how do you marry the two? So that's why the government is in a serious position. Much as they know that we need to survive, because most of our women's dependency is on these cross-border trading activities. Those people living along the borders and all that, most of them, main dependency is on the cross-border trading activities. But one thing that I find it difficult from the West African, that's ECOWAS, organization, ECOWAS.
Economic
yes,
West African states.
It's the fact that they seem not to know what they are doing. Because they should have combated this disease altogether. They should have harmonized the strategies and all that for this, so that at least as a sub-region, they have one policy that to manage the disease. In this case, once they are all doing this in harmony, the movement can go on without any problems, because what is being done in one country is the same as the other is doing. And once we have an economy to build, then we are building this economy. As a community, they could not do this. Even the whole of Africa, AU, couldn't find a way to get a vaccine, put up the resources where they can also find solution to the COVID situation. it's a failure on their part. So for ECOWAS to even demand the opening of, they don't even have the moral authority to do that, because each,
but they've come out and recommended the opening of the borders on the 1st of January 2022.
Yeah, because they didn't do the whole thing well. We live in a community. Let me tell you, a country like Cuba was able to bring to find a solution to a vaccine. They have a vaccine, isn't it? Smaller countries and all that. A whole continent. We pay AU levy. We pay ECOWAS levy. Humanity is at stake. We're being wiped out of the surface of the earth. And what did they do? They couldn't even come out, find the resources to even put scientists together to find a solution to this. And what are they doing? So they don't even have the locus. They don't even understand what they are doing as a community of nations. So if individual nations are doing, that's why. Because otherwise, then I would say that the effect is so bad on the trading activities. Because most of our people, especially those with the smaller capitals, depend on the cross-border trading activities. But then, what effect is it also having on those who have closed the borders? Because they are still going through the unapproved roads. And they are going in their numbers. Even when we are putting a stop of human movement across the countries, they are still coming. Every day, several thousand, but they are being undocumented. So what sense does it make for you to
It's even worse to close it, trust you.
Because then it becomes worse for the closure, because when the people come in and they are not documented, then we are the loser. Have you thought on that? And if we are not able to seal completely these borders, then it's being cosmetics, the border closure. And so we have to find a pragmatic way of solving this. And as I've told you, that poverty is more bitter. And I do recognize that diseases, a healthy nation is the one that produces a healthy economy. And so how do we balance the two? We have to do them together. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Ofosu-Appiah, I pose the same question to you, the border closures.
You see, Ken, I want to just take it from Dr. Obin landed. You see, I can tell you on authority that everything is happening at the frontiers. Everything. People are crossing, they are going in and coming out.
Doing business.
Exactly. The only thing that, like he mentioned, is that it's not being properly documented. Nobody has a handle on what is happening there. And why people are calling for it to be officialized is because now there is extortion. Because it is not official, the individual it is at a greater cost to the individual who is crossing the border. So if it is made official, then we can put in the conditions necessary for opening the border. We can now have handles on who is coming in and who is going out. We can have good statistics to tell the story tomorrow. But as it is now, it is like we are playing ostrich, and a few folks are cashing in. You take a trip to Togo, you got, how do you call it, a flower, you can send your cameras. Goods are going in and coming out, okay? Who rides these goods? The situation as we have it there today is just strengthening the arms of people to just extort monies from these folks who are crossing. And of course, people who are using the unapproved routes, okay? And so I will want to, the president has done a lot to, stem the negative tide of the COVID. For those who are advising him, I pray that they do not take the high-handedness approach. They will have to look at the realities on the ground and soften the stance of the kinds of advice that they are giving to His Excellency. The border has to be opened. The conditions necessary for the opening of the border can be laid down, and then we take it up from there. Yeah.
All right. Doc mentioned the issue of the benchmark values, and they are still impressing upon government to, you know, take it easy in terms of the quest to review, because that was what we were told in the budget statement, and he is still appealing to government to you know, hasten slowly. As far as that is concerned, what's your take on the benchmark values, and what would you want to see?
This benchmark thing is a very interesting one, because I was with him at the economic management team when the idea was mooted. And guess who mooted the idea? It was AGI. It was AGI who mooted the idea of a certain equilibrium of price or value to be found. And he didn't have a problem with that. Customs also said, okay, they will see to what can be done. But I objected. I remember catching His Excellency's eye, the Vice President. I objected and said, look, that's what I was trying to touch on earlier on, that look, we belong to a committee of countries who have appended signatures to trade agreements. In our own Act 891, the Customs Act 2015, if you look at Section 67, it talks about how values must be arrived at. 68 talks about where you don't have value, what you do and what you don't do. Okay? The subsection E thereabout tells you what you don't do at all. That is a minimum value. That is a euphemism for benchmark. That you don't do. The general agreement on tariff and trade, the Article 7, it tells you you do not do that. We used to call it commissioner's value and all of that. Okay? Now, it says that you do not come up with a minimum value. In fact, it describes a whole lot of things that you do not do. Like, you do not say that this thing is selling in Togo at $1. So necessarily, the Ghanaian trader must have it valued for $1. Okay, and other scenario. You can read it. I mean, if I mean you have time. So you see that arrangement in itself. I can bear with the magnanimity of government to want to make life a lot more easier for all of us. You see, but I think that if we bend the midnight oil in a better way, we can come up with solutions that will probably give us the same effect. Okay? I mean, like he mentioned, the aggregation of the taxes, it is still in our domain to be able to do something about them. If we affect those taxes, we will end up probably coming to the incidence of the benchmark, how it was helping all of us. We might come back to, you see, because you see, when we do these things, like I mentioned earlier on, we are the headquarters of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. We should be seen to be adhering to the protocols of the economic bloc that we are trying to build. We should not be the ones who should be seen to be chipping away from the bloc. When Nigeria was doing it under ETLS, we were shouting. Nigeria was not allowing plastic goods into Nigeria, which was a total affront to the arrangement that was in place then. Benin was also subjecting transit goods to pay duty. Okay, we frown on all those arrangements. Now we are also doing something that is eroding the commonality. Like I mentioned, we have the common external tariff situation in place now. If our practices, if we are going to use non-tariff arrangements to offset the commonality, if Nigeria does it, how are we going to complain? You see, so in this particular instance, there can be a way. We talked about the 2% and the 1% special import levies. I mean, those things can be done. Otherwise, if you see the way this benchmark was even practiced, you know, sometimes it becomes like a very funny game where you know that this is $1 it is raised to $2, and then it is slashed down, and then a certain percentage is given to you. I mean, we operationalize the system. If we want to call for equity, I think we can do it right, so that at the same time, our headquarters situation, we will be able to do things that will make us look good in the eyes of the rest of the economic bloc.
All right.
In the South region, most of them are adopting unique systems of operation at their ports.
I know.
So Ghana is also not different.
True.
So it shouldn't be said that because we have agreements and all that.
Can you give us examples of these?
Have you not heard that Togo is practicing a free port of some sort?
Yeah.
And so what does it tell you? So every country, that's why the other countries, they
maybe the peculiarities are
most of their the cost of doing business is less, and even we travel to those destinations to buy imported goods. What make their goods cheaper? Because they have a unique system that also help their citizens to have a cheaper cost of doing business, and that's what Ghana was also doing. So there's nothing wrong. Otherwise, they could have been penalized. They haven't been done. Excuse me.
There is something wrong.
No, there's nothing wrong. Please, there's nothing wrong. Every country has got its own unique systems to help safeguard the interests of the citizens. All this that we are doing, the treaties and all that, is about the citizenry. Because we're talking about high cost of doing business here, which cumulates to about 55%. We went to government, we wanted the taxes to be reduced.
55% of what?
50% of your import
your CIF
value.
Okay.
That's what you have to pay.
Insurance and
that's paying duty rate of 20%. You have to pay 18.5%. After the 20% have been slapped on the VAT, the 20% duty have been added to your invoice value. So, for instance, 100,000 then become 120,000 before the duty is slapped, the VAT is slapped. Before the other levies that are lined up at the port, about 15% of that is also slapped. Then it becomes 55. If your goods is about at trust 35%, in the case of the commodities, tin, tomatoes, and all that, then you are paying 35% plus VAT plus these taxes that I'm talking about 65%. This is what we told government, that we cannot contain this. It means that when you bring goods worth of $100,000, you have to vomit $55,000 to pay,
and even more,
or even more to pay your duty.
Duties.
And this is what we told government, that we cannot contain it. Find a unique way to mitigate the plight of the trading community, and they opted for the what do you call discounting method. And so it's a unique system that they built. Other nations are free. So let's also say that we are also going to adopt the free port. Maybe government cannot do that, and then you still want to do the old system, but then try to mitigate the plight of the consuming public, or reduce the taxes themselves. But you say that they are challenged on the CET. So in every country, everybody do things to safeguard the interests of the consuming public, the trading, the business public, and all that. And this is what the government seems to be doing. So if we go the technical ways, then we have to also copy countries, the advantages that they are giving to their countries. Otherwise, you always be edged out. In the way that you are being restricted yourself to the rules and engagement of a protocol or treaty or what.
All right. Can I address the free port?
Okay. Yes.
You see, the free port situation doesn't mean that duty is not paid when the goods are for home consumption. The free port situation that Togo practices is just a holding facility for goods. It's like
the goods come there. Yes.
The goods come there.
Once you take it out,
into a holding facility, which is private. And at that point, it is just like a bonded warehouse. When you want to take it out,
then
you pay the duty. If you want to take it for home consumption in Togo, you pay the duty. If you want to take it out as transit, then you pay the requisite transit charge. I mean, the charges therein, and then you you re-export it out of Togo. But you see, like I really sympathize with the traders, because at the end of the day, whatever hits them hits us, you and I. I mean, we all go to pick up the bill at the market. You see, but what I'm trying to say is that government has a wherewithal to effect that action without unnecessarily breaching some of these protocols. You see, because otherwise, where are we going? Why building these economic blocks? Otherwise, let everybody just stay in his silo. And
so what do you suggest government do?
Like
because we can also not be searched at the consuming public, being searched at on nursery with astronomical duties and taxes and all that. So give a preferred solution.
The sunset clauses.
What are we going to do so that...
Doc, can you listen?
The
sunset clauses of some of the, how do you call it, the special levy, it is due and gone. The 1% was taken out, the 2% is still hanging in there.
And this is what we line up and send to government. And so it was their choice. So if now they want to reverse it, then they have to go back to the drawing table for us to tone down.
I am with you on that one. 100%.
Because we cannot cough up 50. It is never done in anywhere of the world. Not even in advanced countries like America that you pay 55% on your invoice value.
It is too much.
It doesn't happen.
Sorry.
And that's what we're talking about. So those protocols, treaties and all that, it doesn't, they are signed primarily for the welfare of the people.
Yes.
So if anything is there that is not helping the people of Ghana, there is onus on the government to do something
it is the state that has accumulated the taxes.
Exactly.
So the state will have to find
a way.
Instead of breaking other protocols,
and
there is a way that the state...
If you want to reverse the benchmark, if you want to reverse it, are you reversing us to the old problem? Because there was a problem that we sat down and you used the benchmark reduction. So if you reverse it, then
the discount. Okay, so
you are
let's
not
say
reversing it definitely to the old problem.
There are two things here: the benchmark and the discount. Okay, now the benchmark, the discount is an add-on because government came up with a certain price equilibrium for value. That in itself is not proper per our laws. Okay, now the discount. Government can choose to still give discounts if you present your document and the policy says that for these items you must enjoy a certain discount. It can still be given.
Right.
You know, we can get certain things right by not necessarily breaching certain protocols that we have in place. Otherwise, going forward, our conversation as a unit in the bloc will be irrelevant.
But you are also behaving that we belong to a perfect world, where customs have been complaining about under declaration and all that. Then what else could government? Because that's why I was even saying that the benchmark in itself even came to solve that problem of under declared values and all that. Now you don't hear, because that one has become something like a stabilizer. It means that they use it as a benchmark, and so if you under declare, they bring you back to the value that they use to benchmark you. And so now people do not care. That's why I always tell customs that you have your benchmark values, and you still go to government and say that people under declare their goods. It means that you don't know what you are saying. Because if you have the benchmark, it means that you have to reverse the person from the under declared value to the your value.
There is a mechanism for doing that. That is why the transactional value is either the transactional value or price payable.
How many times do they accept the transactional value?
So we'll now go for a break.
How many times?
We'll go for a break. This is Eye on Port here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we are discussing the expectations of the trading community of government policies in the port and international trade arena. And so tonight, that's why we are discussing. We have Dr. Joseph Obin, who is the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, in the studio. We also have Mr. Kwabena Ofusu-Appiah, who is a former president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders and senior fellow at the Center for International Maritime Affairs, Ghana, CIMAC. And they are the two gentlemen we are doing the discussion with tonight. And so we'll go for a quick break. When we bounce back, we'll continue with the discussion. Please stay.
Every Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance. Oh, Ajima, tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the project, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
All right, so you're welcome back. At this juncture, my producer has intimated to me that I can activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. The number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. We'll be glad to pick your calls and get you to contribute to the discussion. In the meantime, there are some messages here. This one says, great show, I on port. Please ask the Guta president about assertions that government is over-pampering them. This one is from Isaac.
Over-pampering.
Yes.
The one is crying here.
So, Doc, is it true that government is over-pampering you?
How do you guess it? We are always crying. Government is doing its best to help.
Yeah.
But I dare say that we are always also complaining. It means that we have serious problems out there where government can even do better. That's what we say.
Right. Okay. This one says, I'm John from Nungwa. I think government should reduce some of the taxes on imported goods, especially cars. The taxes are too much. All right. Thank you very much, John from Nungwa. Now, let me come to the question of what your expectations are, in 2022.
In 2022, you can hear the wailing of Dr. Obin. Like I've stated earlier, the system is so tight. I mean, I dare say that they are operating at break-even point now, because like I've stated, a lot of them see this as a calling. Otherwise, they will push money into instruments and just lay back, and like a few folks are doing. If you look at the proposition in the budget, aside the e-levy and all of that, there is there's a proposal for a 15% upward adjustment on on all government fees and charges. That seems not to be catching the eye of too many people. And trust you me, what it means is that at the port, all the charges, you heard him complain already about some of the charges at the port. Of course, the shipping lines are not on the they are not statutory organizations. But we have statutory organizations in there, like the Food and Drugs, the EPA. I mean, just name them, quite a lot. And if this 15% charge is going to come unmitigated, it is seriously not something that will board pleasantries. It's a serious one. So I think that now that the budget is being debated, if we can quickly look at the incidence of that kind of adjustment on how do you call it, pricing in our space. It's something that we will have to do as soon as possible to affect the conversation into the how do you call that, when the parliamentary committee sits to want to look at the figures into detail, so that it helps a certain percentage instead of the 15%, because that is huge. We will have to look at that. Then you want to also advise government to stay any further disturbances within the space. Right. Okay. If anything at all, I will want to call on a review of certain interventions, like the tax stamp as a port operation. Okay. I want government to look at that arrangement and
so that the tax stamp will be done at the ports?
No. It is, as a port operation now. And I'm saying that government will have to review that arrangement. And either they get a larger space for that exercise, or they redirect it to the warehouses of the
importers.
The importers. Okay. And then the fumigation service. I want government to take a second look at that. I know this is not the time that you want to talk about. You want to raise maybe an antithesis to fumigation, particularly if you look at the COVID space within which we are. But the architecture that is in place today, ostensibly fumigating cargo, it is just a very funny arrangement, okay? Because here is the case where you go open up a container, you bring the container out, you conduct examination and all of that, you repack the container, and then there's a contraption outside somewhere that sprays around the container in the name of fumigating. What have we fumigated? I went to the airport the last time and I see another contraption at the gate where vehicles exiting. You know how cargo is brought through the airport. The cargo is not in containers, so somebody will have to put it in the vehicles that carry them. And then the vehicle passes under the fumigation contraption and it is sprayed. So what exactly are we fumigating? These things add up to cost, and these are the cost build up, the 15% across board increases in government fees and charges. If these things are going to be there, they are still going to impact on charges that the trader is already crying about. So I would pray that some of these things be reviewed going into 2022.
Right. Okay. Dr. Obing.
Yeah. What I will expect the government to think through is about the VAT that they are revising it from the flat rate to the standard rate. Probably we have to sit down. Otherwise, it's going to create a very huge problem for government revenue collection. Because for the past 5 years, when the flat rate was introduced, we all do not have the input tax now. So if we do not have the input tax, how are we going to write the output for the collection of same? I hope you understand. Because when we are using the 3%, it means that is 3%. Government take the input and he keep it. and for 5 years, that have been with government. And so if now you tell us, because we have our stocks there, and so the stocks do not have input VAT, how are we going to calculate? We have to sit down with government, otherwise it's going to create a major mess. Government will even, And then for me, you are asking of the way forward. I've always said that I expect that effective systems are built to make sure that things are made rightly for everybody to do the right things, especially at the ports. Systems, where taxes are also made affordable to enable everybody to pay the taxes. This is the bane. If we're able to do this, everybody will be paying taxes, and the systems itself will enable the taxes to be actually captured into government coffers. And this is what I expect, and that we have to think through along the lines. Sometimes we increase these taxes and it doesn't go anywhere. It funds its way to individual pockets and all that. We should build the systems and to bring parity. All that businesses seek is parity. And that and nobody have the discretion to do something, and people will be scouting for those people to have sympathies for them and all that. Let's build the appropriate systems to make sure that everybody is doing the right things, and also make sure that taxes are affordable so that everybody will be paying into this net. Mind you, the benchmark value reduction, as government was not having its target before the introduction of the benchmark system. After introduction of benchmark, where even government have discounted it for 50%, government exceeded its revenue target since 2019. Even in the wake of the COVID 2020, we exceeded our target. At October, the third quarter, they have also said that they are getting their target for this year. So if you have a system and working for you, it's like you presented a team for Black Stars, they are winning. A winning team, you do not affect it. If care is not taken, they will do that, and then people will return to the old ways of smuggling and all that. And the people are being induced to practice corruptible this in order to clear their goods. And it will not help government. And then government will also become unpopular because prices would have gone up at the same time. So they should look again.
All right. So let me welcome Yawunsia from Tema onto the show. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Please shoot.
Okay. As for the benchmark values policy, it's a very bad one. It's a very bad policy that the government implemented. Because now the blame should also go to our ICOMS team, because it looks as if they are clueless and don't know the exact system that they will have to implement. Because now Guta is asking for the method of assessment of transactions for international trade after the scrapping of the benchmark values. They will have to come out openly and tell them that, okay, now we should go by the WTO valuation methodology that will see the traders coming in, submitting genuine invoices. You see, we have to be truthful to ourselves. The benchmark values were a very bad policy that the government implemented. You see, and because our ICOMS too doesn't know what they have to do, they are confused. They are rolling out models. That's especially, for instance, the e-tracking.
All right.
It has already been there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ansia.
So, yeah, we blame the Ghana link and the ICOMS team.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ansia. Thank you very much indeed. But I think that the users of the system are appreciating it, and the verdict is loud and clear. They say the system is good, it's robust, it has helped so much in trade facilitation. So I don't know where your posturing is coming from, but they all attest to the fact that ICOMS has been a blessing and has been as
Effective,
very effective.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
okay, so I think he sent this message earlier. He says the benchmark value policy was a bad policy. Why don't we go with the WTO valuation rules and be truthful to ourselves by submitting genuine invoices?
Look at it.
Yeah, so
please. I don't know where he's coming from. If he said that the policy was no good, why were you saying that? He's just talking. That is not good because you have to talk. And who determines what a rightful value is? I bring my goods and people have to argue why their transactional value is an authentic one, and customs will always refuse. So who determines what a proper valuation is? This is the reason why over time customs even came out with this benchmark and all that, because that was the back and forth, always argument. Because I bought my goods and I said this is the price, and customs will say that this is not the price. We insist that this is not the price. And sometimes when having brought your legitimate price, then they will even, because it's coming from you genuinely and you giving the right information, they will even increase it again because they do not trust.
That's
so if there's a lack of trust in the system, what can we do again? Because whatever thing that you give, they presume that is wrong. And this is the reason why it even pushes people from undervaluation, because they say that if even you send the right value, they will even still upgrade it higher. And so who determines what the right value is? And that's what he should come and tell us.
Right.
Because it shouldn't be under anybody's discretion to say that this is, because people go to extremes to bargain for prices.
Yeah. Exactly.
And we can, so if we have to say that, okay, then let's argue for the fact, and then let my supplier even authenticate it. You say that because I've connived with my supplier. And so who then determines what this is? What kind of frustration is this?
Yes, true. I mean, you can see. I mean,
it's point well made.
It is very frustrating.
Frustrating.
But you see, in the wisdom of the trade facilitation agreement, you see that they push for something we call the customs to customs cooperation. Now, I think about 5 years ago, when customs to customs cooperation was even made part of the agreement, little did we know that we will be forced to jump onto technology's platform so fast. You know, COVID has even quickened the pace of some of these expectations. You know, some of us were thinking that we knew it was going to happen, but we thought it was going to happen probably in 20, 30 years.
Right.
But it is here with us now. I think that to stem this frustration that the traders go through, the customs to customs cooperation arrangement must be kick-started so that wherever you go to buy, there is an export declaration that you do. You interact with the customs of the exporting country. So that when at least some stops of information that you loaded on their platform is received here, then it makes life a lot more easier for the trader.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Gentlemen, I think
that was the
our time is
solution that
up.
they wanted in the CTN. Because the CTN, you have to.
But the CTN was private.
Export, yes.
Yeah.
But it also failed.
Okay, so
it also failed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen. This is how we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. We've been speaking to Dr. Joseph Obing, who is the president of the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA, and Mr. Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, former president, Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, and senior fellow, Center for International Maritime Affairs, Ghana CIMAC. And this evening we've been looking at the expectations as far as the 2022 is concerned, government policies and all that for port and international trade. My name is Kennedy Mona. Indeed, we shall say thank you to our sponsors, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and Ghana Link Network Services, operators of the Integrated Customs Management System. Remember, the abridged version of the show is aired on Ghana Television every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Make a date and watch that as well. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another edition of Iron Port. Have a super week ahead and a Merry Christmas to you all.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring.